On this run, Tracy, on the kind of piling in at the back end that you're talking about, where do you see oil getting to above $100 and in what time frame?
I definitely think that we could see above $100. I think we could possibly even see 120. By this summer when we really see demand increase, because we just don't have that amount of oil. Nobody can produce that amount of oil right now. We have a problem with spare capacity with OPEC, spare capacity with Russia, and in the United States, producers just don't want to, they're just spending as much money as they can right now to keep production flat.
So from where I'm sitting in the United Arab Emirates. There's two things that I think can change the narrative here. One is that the UAE and Saudi Arabia materially up their production, which of course isn't their standard practice. Do you think that's a material risk? And the second, on the supply side, is an additional SPR released by the United States of America. Talk me through those quantums, the risk of them happening, and the impact on the market.
Well, certainly, the Saudi Arabia and UAE are the two that could produce a lot more if they wanted to. That said, I just don't see that happening. You have Saudi Arabia talking about floating some more shares of Aramco, so it behooves them to kind of keep oil prices higher. And I think that they kind of learned their lesson after the fiasco in April of 2020, and they're not going to flood the markets anymore. So I think that they're going to keep that tight. Also, the possibility of some Iranian oil coming back online. So I don't think they're going to start overproducing it anytime soon. As far as an SPR,
yep. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
As far as an SPR release is concerned, there's just not enough barrels that they could put on the market to be any meaningfully to move the market meaningfully.
Okay, now it's good to get that context. You talk about Iran, of course, when they came back in from the cold, so to speak, in 2015, they were very quick and very aggressive in terms of what they were able to deliver. I just want to get my numbers right. I think it was 500. We thought it was going to be 500,000 over 12 months. They did that in 4 months in 2015. We know China are a big buyer of Iranian oil. If there's a deal, and do you think, is that what the market consensus is now at, that the deal comes, how quickly and what quantum comes back, Tracy?
I think we could easily see 500,000 barrels per day put on the markets in about 4 months, about the same time period. That said, putting those barrels on the market kind of makes up for the shortfall that OPEC is experiencing right now. So I don't think it's, a meaningful amount, and we actually kind of need those barrels right now.
We absolutely do. The risk is that the White House is also bracing for Moscow to weaponize its energy exports. When you look at markets, there's daily volatility in gas in Europe. There's huge volatility in the oil market. Do you think, I know that we're in the talks mode at the moment and de-escalation mode, that's what we're talking about, but we have to deal with tail risk, which is that there is an escalation, there is sanctions. What would weaponizing our exports look like if it was Russia?
The thing is that the biggest risk with Russia right now, it would be sanctions on the market, right? And so we would need to see the language and what kind of sanctions they're going to put on the oil industry, if at all, because Russia is the top 3 producer. Certainly, taking those barrels off the market would obviously drive crude prices a lot higher. So that's kind of your risk right there. The United States itself imports oil from Russia, so they're trying to source elsewhere from Brazil, Canada, and Mexico. So I think we would see the West that imports from Russia. We would kind of see global flow change, right? And so that's kind of the
Uh-huh.
risk that people would be scrambling for barrels in other countries.
Absolutely, and we've already seen Mario Draghi, as it were, fracture that unanimity in terms of what Europe is prepared to bear in regards to energy exports and the risk to that from Europe. Tracy, thank you for staying up late. Be a regular. Join us. Good to get the fast money voice on the show. The real money, we like it. That is Tracy Shuchart, global energy and materials strategist for the hedge fund Telemetry. Coming up, Australia.